covering all 4 major sports in the District of Champions. It's the DC Crossover Podcast with your hosts, Mike Cerrone and Ben Simpson.
Hello and welcome to episode 158 of the DC Crossover. I am Ben Simpson. That is Mike Cerrone. Glad to have you with us for yet another episode of the show. And yes, we are back. We're on more of a consistent schedule now. During the summertime and things like that, it was, we're busy. Mike's going on his cruises. He's saving people in the water, or that was her dad that did that.
That was her dad. That wasn't me.
Yeah,
I was watching.
Yeah, you were on the floaty with 2 high noons in your hands. But we are back talking some Commanders today. We will touch on, of course, the best show on television in a little bit as well.
Sorry. You got me hyped up again.
We got to save it. So plenty to get to tonight. But I did want to start first, obviously, since you talked about going to the tailgate last episode. I did want to hear how that went, if the rules were followed for the most part, or if there was some dissension amongst the group.
So the problem with my buddy is I talked about him last week. So the problem
Did he listen to the show?
So you think he listens to the show?
No.
He did for when we were probably at WGMU or something.
Right, that's true. 10 years ago.
Yeah, when we were like 10. But the difference is none of my friends ever listen. And that's the problem.
Fine.
But let me give a shout out to Miss Barker over at the school I work at. She's probably listening.
Cool.
And she's probably going to fast forward. So
just to
Barker,
the Survivor part.
If you're listening, Survivor's going to be in a little bit. So
when you hear the music, that's when you know.
Yeah. So she listens to the show when she goes on runs and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny. But anyways, so my buddy doesn't listen to the show at all. I don't think any of my family members listen to the show anymore. Once in a while, they'll like stumble on it and they're like, "Oh, you still doing this?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." But the problem is that he deviates from plans so easily to the point where it's so frustrating. So get this. I specifically said, meet at this 7-Eleven because he was working in Tyson's and we were all getting off and my other buddy was coming to pick us up. And all of a sudden we were like, hey, let's meet at the 7-Eleven so we can caravan there so we can have the same parking. And also, not to mention, you have to go in a certain lot now. You have to go to a certain entrance, certain lot, all that kind of stuff. And so we're starting to go. Then my buddy says, hey, let's just meet at the parking lot. And I'm like, dude, like we've had this plan for 2 days now. And he's like, yeah, but I'm already going and my ETA is this and that. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, idiot. So we're on the road and, we're getting a little bit of traffic here and there or whatever, but it's okay. It's not a bad ride. And then all of a sudden, Kevin, who was in the car, who was driving, was like, you guys are going to hate me for this. And I was like, oh, God. He's like, I forgot the burgers and dogs in the fridge.
Oh, no.
I started laughing because him and his wife were just like at it. They were like, she was like, are you serious? And then like, he was like, well, hey, try to find us a grocery store. And meanwhile, we're in like DC and we're like, all right, this is not the best area to stop at a grocery store. So long story short, we ended up finding a store called Save-A-Lot.
Oh, and did you?
Well, we didn't die. I thought that the meat was a little sus, as the kids like to say.
Okay.
So we
Save-A-Lot.
Yeah. So what we made, the burgers and the sausages or whatever the hell we bought, we ended up keeping on the grill for an extra minute or two.
Probably smart move.
Yeah. So it was Save-A-Lot. It had a little odor to it, and they had like TVs hanging on the walls that still had the plastic around them for their cameras. It was very odd.
Wow.
So yes, it was very difficult. So
and now he's just got a bunch of hot dogs and hamburgers in his fridge at home.
He's
enough to feed his family. They're eating that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next couple weeks.
He has 16 burgers and like 10. I'm like, Jesus,
sounds
dude.
Great to me.
He was, yeah. And the best part was he didn't forget the buns, so he brought the buns, but didn't bring the interesting part, which is the stuff inside the bun.
Right.
So
that's funny.
So, anyways, that was a little tidbit from that. But we ended up not telling anybody that we went to Save-A-Lot because we were trying to hurry up and not tell anybody that we screwed up, because we always give my other friend Dill, we always give him enough crap about being late and all this kind of stuff. So
And then here you are with the Save-A-Lot burgers.
Save a lot of burgers.
Yeah.
So I mean, the cashier, God bless her, but the cashier was eating like ramen noodles in one hand, and then the other hand was like ringing stuff up. It was just like it was odd, man. So anyways, we get to the tailgate. Luckily, he's there, but the problem is again they did like some bone-in rib thing, and then like I don't know something was like it was like pico with shrimp or something, and then they kept telling me you need to try this, and I said no, I'm good, and then all of a sudden like his speaker wasn't working, and then I was like, oh,
You're on tilt, yeah.
I'm on tilt because they're sitting there and they're cooking this gourmet feast. Meanwhile, 5 of the guys that were there they weren't sitting with us, but they work in my buddy's company. They're chucking the football around like they're Dan Marino,
and that was in the rules. It was in the rules that you shouldn't be doing that.
But the problem is that they're chucking the football as far as they can, and one of the balls hit Jess in the face.
Oh no!
and we're like, are you serious? Like, because I mean, it's like they think they're, like I said, they're Peyton Manning, they're Dan Marino, and they're chucking the ball. Right. Meanwhile, the ball's going 17 yards to the right, and we're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, it made so that happened, and then like I said, they made all this food where it's like, it was good, and don't get me wrong, it was great food, but again, it wasn't food for a tailgate. Like burgers, dogs, ketchup, mustard, boom, done. Yeah. Chips and dip, boom, done. Right. Or wings, done. But it's not like I don't want to have like greasy hands because I'm eating a rib or something like that.
Rib is a rough one because like that's a very messy food. Like when we're talking about like, especially if you really slop it up with the sauce, like the BBQ sauce, it's like we're talking about like a very messy experience. I mean, if I were to rank like messy foods, I mean ribs would have to be up there. I mean wings can get really messy if they're really sauced up.
Yeah.
That. But if we're talking like hot dogs and burgers, it's like boom, those are super easy. I'd say you could probably down a burger or a dog, and be good to go with your hands.
Yeah,
you could be in good shape.
Like a dealer at a casino. They go like this.
That's what you do after you eat the dog. And you just brush off a few of the breadcrumbs on your, and you're good to go. But the ribs is like that's a psycho move. What are we doing?
Well, I mean, they had a table out there, and then they had one grill going, one charcoal grill going, like one of those random ones like a Weber that's like $80.
Sure.
But then they also had one of like the miniature ones that I was so scared of stepping on. Because it was literally...
Oh, yeah, they're tiny. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was literally maybe 5 inches off the ground.
It's like an easy bake oven.
It was the size of a piece of paper. Yeah. Like, it was so small. And they had all the sausages down there. And I'm like, man, it takes one person to eat it. And then all of a sudden, because it was in the way, too. And I was like, I mean, right when I got there, all I wanted to do, because I made a playlist, all I wanted to do was take control of the speaker, put the playlist on, and start jamming out. Yeah. The problem was that
it's a big responsibility being the music guy.
My buddy's speaker is $200, and I couldn't get the damn thing connected because there's no lights on it. There's like 2 buttons, and I said, "Dude, how do you do this thing?" He's like, "I don't know, just Google it." I'm not gonna Google how to connect to this speaker. So I'm like, oh, it was so tilting. Not to mention that near the end of the tailgate, we had 2 guys that were clearly high on something. And they were drinking. They called it Mike's Secret Stuff. Not me, like Michael's Secret Stuff from Space Jam.
Yeah,
and it was like some clearish liquid
moonshine
with Red Bull or something like that. And they started drinking that thing, and this guy he dapped me up every time a bag was thrown. Every time a bean bag was thrown, for cornhole, because we were playing cornhole.
Right.
Every time a bag, he was like dap me up, and I'm like, dude, stop it, please. But we were throwing, and then they came and we were playing, and all of a sudden they were like, oh, I was like, all right, have a good day, guys, or whatever, and they left. Within 5 minutes, they came back and said, "Let's run it back." I'm like, whoa.
And so you didn't know these guys. These were just like random tailgate guys.
Yeah. And the best part is this one guy's like Kobe every time, and he would throw it like a basketball, like he's shooting a free throw every single time, and the game wouldn't end. Like it lasted for half an hour, and like everyone else is waiting for us to finish this stupid game, but who knows what these guys are on, what drugs they're on, because I don't want them to start fighting me because I said, hey, we want to go watch the game here.
Yeah, football games in the second quarter by now, and you guys are still playing bags with Kobe.
Dude, it was seriously, dude. It was a don't get me wrong. It was the best part of the night, let's be honest here.
Sure.
But at the same
Yeah,
time,
especially with that game. Yeah.
yeah, there were some fouls, I guess you could say that our tailgate was like 3 fouls in an NBA game. Like we were close to
Right.
fouling out, but we weren't that much foul
Not
trouble.
fully there. At least I mean, it sounds to me like at least you got some solid food, some drinks.
Yep.
The tunes never ended up happening, is that right? Like you just never got the speakers to work?
Well, here's the thing. The best part is my buddy Kevin has one of these things, the UE booms or whatever.
Okay.
They're like a cylinder. It's like a. So I'm showing you three birds. By the way, I got 3 birds again.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So it's like this, but it's probably, I don't know, maybe a tiny bit taller and a tiny bit like girthier.
Sure.
And it's a good size speaker. So I've already connected to that before in the past, and it takes 2 seconds because it has a Bluetooth button like everything else.
Yeah, I
You
mean the
press it,
Bluetooth
boom.
speakers these days are pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah.
You press the button on the thing, and then you look at Bluetooth on your phone. It's like, oh, there's the speaker, and then you're good to
Right.
go. Yeah, so that's wild. But
I'll give it a
'cause, yeah.
solid like 78 tailgate. 78.
okay, I mean that's a solid score. But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
I know what you mean in regards to the tunes. I mean, like it is, as a fellow music guy, it's one of those big things. It's like if you're the one who wants to run the music side of things, it's like things have to run in the way you want it. There's got to be a good speaker. You have to have the good playlist ready to go. It's a whole process. So
Here's also the problem going with that, along with the music, is that literally when we've had poker nights, right, we put some music on in the background,
Right.
and I will say that some of these guys are, of Hispanic descent.
Sure.
So they sit there and I'll be playing a song and it's the first song, and within 38 seconds they're like, man, this is trash. Like, give me the speaker, give me the blue. And that's the thing I was pissed off. That's why I ran to the Bluetooth, because then all of a sudden, and this is not a racist comment,
No,
but
we're talking music,
they're sitting there and they're playing Bad Bunny and they're playing like, I'm like, dude, I can't even understand what they're saying. Like, it's like sweet. Like I don't know. I put my hands up, and I basically, and the best part is that I played it on Kevin's speaker, which no one ever touched because they didn't know if that was his or not. So I was like, yeah, because some people were jamming out, but then some people had no idea what song it was, and I'm like, it's Fetty Wap. How do you not remember this guy?
Right.
And he was like 8 years ago, One Eye. We've already talked about.
He was a dozen trivia answer. He was a daily dozen trivia answer. So.
There he is.
Well, it sounds like it was overall went pretty well. I mean, you'll take a score in the 70s.
Yes.
And it does seem to me that the tailgate definitely went over better than the game itself, which is where we find ourselves. This was a rough one. It's to say the least. I mean, going into this game, I'll be honest, I guess this team must have tricked us into thinking they were a lot better than they were. I mean, you saw them play against Philly and you're like, oh, okay, this team's not half bad. Like, okay, especially with how Dallas has not been playing that great. Of course, we didn't know that they'd be as bad as they just played yesterday. But, going into that game, you're kind of like, hey, maybe the Commanders they're definitely better than the Giants. Maybe they're not at the same level as the Eagles, even though they played them pretty well. But you're kind of thinking, hey, maybe they're the second best team in the division. I don't know. And then you go into Thursday Night Football, the big stage. I mean, this one was over by halftime. I mean, it was insane. So part of me was laughing because I was like, Mike, I was laughing not at you, but I was laughing at the situation that you're in, because it's like, you get to go down there for Thursday Night Football. It's a big deal.
Yep.
It's not like you get to go to games all the time. You do the tailgate, you do everything, and then you just go watch this team get the absolute shit kicked out of them. I mean, like that is literally, basically what happened here by Chicago, by the Bears, which is one of the funniest things about all this is, I mean, the Bears, who have looked god awful for the most part. I mean, they looked okay. They looked okay in that Denver game, but besides that, I mean, this team, and they put up 40. It's just insane.
I mean, literally, you're looking at the Bears right now. And by the way, just to preface this, I poured myself a stiff drink. I also got a secondary drink for the second half of the show.
Okay.
And there's going to be some explicit talk here, okay? Because honestly, we try to keep it as family friendly as possible.
Sure.
So if some people listen in the cars or whatever, and they
family,
got a kid
they
there,
gather around, put on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like one of the old
school radio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
President's
presidential address.
Yeah. Not Teddy Roosevelt, the other one. FDR is giving the radio
Christmas
address.
Carol.
Yeah,
JFK.
Yeah.
But anyways, so like I said, pour myself a stiff drink. There's going to be some explicit material on here, okay? And Ben already started us off. So
yeah, I figured
the Bears are ass.
Yeah,
the Bears are ass. There is so much talk about how much their defense sucked to the point where we should have gone in there and had a quote unquote get right game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not going to sit there and say that I didn't have any reservations because of our history. Not to mention the bad omen that I have when I go to games. There was a game, and I believe it was there's two games, actually, I will say right now that I went to. One was the St. Louis Rams back when they were in St. Louis. Me and Kevin went there, and we had nice seats and everything like that. That's when the Rams sucked. They had Steven Jackson. That was their only thing in their entire team. We were probably favored by 12, and we ended up losing by 15. And we had Rams fans mooning us on the way out.
Nice.
So that was nice. And then I have another one where it was the Sean Taylor game where we got the towels and all that kind of stuff, the 21 towels right after he passed. And I believe we were playing the Bills, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe that might have been the game where we called 2 timeouts in a row.
Yeah.
Got a penalty and lost the game.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I have a bad and you had all the momentum on your side and everything of that nature. So I've been to a lot of losses. Now, trust me, I've been to a few good wins. I went to the Week 17 RG3 Cowboys win, and I've been to a few other ones that were really good. But the problem that I have is this is a team that has a ton of talent, a ton. Okay, I even said it, on our format here that we have 6 first-round picks on the defense. 6. Yep. If you count it, there's 11 starters on defense. 11. So by my elementary school math, that's over a half of your defense are first-round picks. Yep. The 4 down linemen, Emmanuel Forbes, and Jamin Davis. And Emmanuel Forbes has been straight butt with 2 T's all season long. All this hype that he's a ball hawk, he's this, he's that. I hated the pick. I hated the pick. And I'm not saying I hate the guy. The guy could be a great guy and he can have some talent. But I needed an offensive lineman. I literally, basically ransacked our group message by saying, I hate this pick. I need a tackle. I need this. I need that. Look at the Ravens. The Ravens always have a pretty damn decent line. And they got the guy from, Iowa or Wisconsin or something like that, like really late in the draft and all. I'm like, I don't care if it's the guy that is a reach. If he's the best guard and he's going to be a first round pick, get him. Like, you control the game in the trenches. You control the game in the trenches. And yet our offensive line sucks so much ass that they literally can't block a giraffe that's trying to
Wiley fan.
Yeah, let's be honest here. Kansas City gave no Fs when they let him go. Yeah. I mean, literally, you could have a pig, like a hog, come through the line. Not the hogs of the olden days. Yeah. I'm talking about an actual pig. Come through the line, and Andrew Wiley couldn't tackle him or block him. I mean, Nick Gates, that guy has a mean streak, but he has a mean streak against teddy bears because that guy can't block for shit either. And then the biggest thing that I have is that our offensive line sucks so much, yet Sam Howell is running for his life 85% of the time and still putting up numbers. Yeah. And the problem here that I have, though, okay, and I'm not even going to get to the defense yet. The problem that I have, I'm saving the best stuff for last year, by the way. I'm going with the minute stuff that everyone already knows sucks, and that's the offensive line. And you're looking at this and saying, I mentioned this earlier, okay? The problem that I'm having is that you look at Sam Howell and people are kind of saying like, oh, he should be starting a little faster. And that is that's a critique. Let's be honest here. That is a critique. But the problem that I'm having is this guy is going out there getting sacked 5 to 10 times. At first, everyone was like, oh, he's keeping the ball too long. Oh, he's, not eluding the pressure or whatever the hell it may be. The problem with this is that the offensive line sucks.
Yeah.
Brian Robinson, I don't know if Brian Robinson knows how to fucking block.
No.
And that's the problem is you're seeing it and saying, what the hell are we doing here? The guy is going to have his confidence shot. He threw for 388 yards. If you go out there, he had 5 sacks. So he had a total of 56 dropbacks. 56 dropbacks, and he threw 1 pick. Yes, I understand CJ Stroud had the record and all that kind of stuff. And, he ended up basically throwing however many balls it is and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. I don't care. The biggest thing is CJ Stroud hasn't been sacked a million effing times this entire season like Sam Howell has. And that's the problem is you're seeing Sam Howell go out there, run around for his life and still throw for 388, only had 14 incompletions out of 51 attempts. So you're saying this guy went out there and worked his ass off trying to get this team back in the ball game, which again, you see it. The third quarter, they came out strong, which they have most of the year. I think they've been outscored by like 40 points in the first half, which that is obviously an issue. Okay, we will say that it's an issue. But the problem also is through 5 games, okay, they've been outscored like 80-something to 40-something in the first half. That's terrible by the defense too. You let 27.5 here, but then you also let 21 or something like that to the Broncos, and it's like it's just literally a train going down the damn tracks that they can't stop. And my whole entire issue is EB, whatever you want to call him, Eric Bieniemy, Coach Bieniemy, whatever the hell everyone's calling him nowadays. Him and Sam Howell are gonna get on the same page. They are both going to go out there and kind of get that dynamic. I mean, this is the first year they've been together. Give them a break. Not to mention, like I said,
it takes time.
388 yards is a ton of yards. Let's be honest here. Yes, they were playing catch up from behind. He threw 51 times. But 388 yards is pretty damn good. I'll take that all day. But the issue that I'm having is that you're not making any adjustments on the offensive line. I mean, you could say you're making adjustments, but he's still getting sacked a bunch. And that's the issue that I'm having is you got to figure out a way to get guys open. You got to run different routes. You got to have different blocking schemes. You got to have chips. You got to have different things with the running backs to actually have them. I mean, Antonio Gibson, that guy can't hold on to the damn ball and save his damn life. So get him to go out there and block somebody. I don't care if he gets pancaked every single time. He's a body to have to run over. So it's another half a second that Sam Howell can have. My biggest concern for the offense is the offensive line has not gotten a single tick better. Sam Howell is just getting better, which is making the offensive line look a tad better. That's the first point I'll make, but now I'll let it off to you.
Yeah, no, it's I'm just looking through the sack numbers on this season so far. It's just insane. I mean, Arizona 6 sacks, Denver 4, Buffalo 9, Philly 5, Chicago 5. I mean, if you're looking at betting lines and props and things like that, I mean, start looking at the sacks every week when we're talking about these defenses. I mean, it's not even like these are fantastic defenses. I mean, Chicago, they're not really that good of a defense. I mean, Philly, okay, but Denver, I mean, come on, Denver putting up 4 sacks, Arizona putting up 6. So it's exactly as we've talked about on the show, is that if they're getting the quarterback this much, then something needs to change in the formation. Something needs to change. Maybe you're rolling Sam out more or something. I mean, there's just a lot of different things you can do to try to figure this out because, this O-line is poo-poo. I mean, they are bad. And that it just affects everything because then you can't get a running game going early on in the game. I mean, I know this team was behind so quick, so they couldn't run at all, but 29 yards on the ground and 19 of those were from Sam Howell. So you had nobody run the football. Brian Robinson's a non-factor in that game. And then this is something we were talking about on text too, but you look at on the other side, on the offense side of things, Logan Thomas shouldn't be getting the most targets on this team. Like, look, I think he's obviously a nice weapon to have, especially in the modern NFL game. Your tight ends being utilized, blah blah blah. That's great, But Terry McLaurin should always be at least in the top 2 of targets every single game because he is your best player. Why are you? I mean, he is your best offensive weapon on this team besides the quarterback. And him to have 5 targets in this game, 4 catches, it's just, and he's below Antonio Gibson, Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas. That just, to me, that's like a big red flag for me. It's like, what are we doing? Why can't we got to find a way to get Scary Terry the ball more.
Well, think about it this way, okay? 56 total dropbacks Sam Howell had, 5 sacks, 51 attempts. 51 attempts, and only 5 of those were to your best player.
It's just insane.
Every single week, this is the problem. Every single week, I see on TikTok or Instagram or some other blowbag site that literally everyone is saying, "Oh, is Terry McLaurin a top 10 receiver? What is he? What is he here?" I mean, the guy's had like 3 straight 1,000-yard receiving, years, and yet we don't understand that maybe you should target him 9 times a game on average.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, once in a while he might get blanketed by a Jair Alexander or whoever the hell it may be that's guarding him, like a Sauce Gardner or somebody. But the problem that I'm having is that you're looking at, again, like we talked about earlier off air, okay? You're seeing your top 2 weapons, and Dotson is a better weapon than Curtis Samuel. Both your weapons have 10 total targets out of 51 attempts. I mean, that's literally like 20%. 20% of the throws are going to your top 2 targets. I mean, you're getting Curtis Samuel so much run. Sure, maybe he was open a lot, but you're literally going out there and seeing who are the corners for the Chicago Bears. I mean, I couldn't name them. I mean, one of them was a 5th-round rookie. And it's like you're sitting there and saying, great, I'm happy that Logan Thomas and Curtis Samuel got their due and all this kind of stuff. But the problem that I'm having is Terry McLaurin is a top 10, if not top 15, wideout in the entire league. So that means he's at least one of the top 15 wide receivers in the entire NFL, in the entire world, and you're going to throw it to him 5 times?
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
I can't sit there and blame Howell for that. Now, I will say that Howell maybe should look his way a little bit more, but also, like we just talked about, when you're getting your ass handed to you every single time against defenses, some defenses that are good and some defenses like the Bears that suck, and you're still getting sacked a million effing times. I mean, they literally were teeing off on him because they were sending, safeties, they were sending corners, different stuff. They were doing things that we haven't seen in a couple of years. And that's the problem is, I think going into it, we thought, all right, it's the Bears. We'll go out there. We'll run it a little bit. We'll throw it around. We'll be all right. If we win not a really big game, if we go out there and win 27-17, we'll take that. But then all of a sudden, which I'm getting to the next point, we get our doors blown off by the defense that has been absolute butt. Again, another double T butt all season long. This defense has 6 number 1 picks, as I mentioned earlier, and we still can't. We can't. I mean, you ever see the videos of the mascots just decking the kids?
Oh yeah, it's the best.
That's some of the best videos. I'm sure the mascots on offense with the Freddie the Falcon and Blue from Indianapolis, I bet those mofos could go out there and throw all on this defense. Emmanuel Forbes has 1 tackle in this game, and I'm sure he got thrown to 30 times. I mean, it's unbelievable. Right. I saw one play, which everyone has seen it so far, that he literally went out there, and the guy, I don't know if it was DJ Moore or who it was, I believe it was DJ Moore. Literally, they threw it to him. He went up to tackle him, and then it was like he gave him a hug from like a Thanksgiving, like you give a side hug to an uncle you haven't seen in a long time, like, hey, what's up, Uncle Kenny, or whoever the hell it is, and then like you give him a side hug, and then you just let him go. Yeah, and that's what he did. This is the problem with having a guy that weighs 165 pounds, which is how much the left side of my body weighs, and then all of a sudden he tries to tackle somebody in the NFL. That's the issue, is that you see the defense go out there and they're soft. They are soft, and that's the problem. Every time we hear Chase Young this, Chase Young that. Sweet, he got another half a sack, okay? But he's not being the game wrecker that TJ Watt is, who he was expected to be like, Okay. Montez Sweat, sure. Didn't get all the hype that Chase Young has gotten, but he needs to be a little bit better. He didn't have a terrible game, but overall, you're seeing John Allen, Ron Payne. John Allen had a pretty decent game. He had 7 total tackles, which is not a good thing because of the sole fact that Herbert was running all over us. So John Allen had to step up. And I have a quote here from John Allen, which I'll read to you real fast. So John Allen, who we both know really well, we covered him in high school. We also watched him in Alabama, and he's a really nice guy. The guy's a great guy, great leader, and this is what he said to Commanders.com. We just played like shit. We are not a good defense right now. We got to own that. We got to take that, and we got to get better. What's causing us to lose the games right now is defensively. We're just not executing. We got to be better. Everybody is talented in the NFL. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It's about how well you play together on any given Sunday. Fast forward a little bit. We got to take it one step at a time. We're not going to fix every single problem at once. We got to look at the film and move on. I think every single player on this defense needs to take a good hard look at themselves and see what they got to do to improve, which I believe that quote right there is calling out people, saying, hey, you shouldn't be going out and gallivanting, going to play 18 on Saturday or something like that when you could be going to work out or something like that. I'm not saying that he's calling any specific person out. But when you see, again, 6 first-round picks, we've heard that a million effing times, and then you go out there, you come out flat, you don't know what you're doing, you only play 17 games a year, there's no coming out flat. There is go out there and play your ass off. That's the problem, is that our team so far hasn't done that in the first half. We're not scoring points. We're letting up 1 million points. And right now, we are averaging 32 points allowed for the year. and if you think about it, we still got to play Kansas City. We still got to play the Eagles again. We got to play Dallas twice. I mean,
Miami. Miami's on that schedule. Miami's going to put up 150 points. You got San Fran on the schedule still too.
Yeah, I mean, it's Miami.
Those 9 wins now.
There,
those 9 wins,
Louise.
Mike. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to get to that 9 mark.
I'm telling you right now. I still have my season-long sweat.
7-5, I think.
Now, obviously, this is my team, and I have I texted you guys the pictures of Kevin's wife taking pictures of me in distress, literally in the first half, where I'm scratching my head, like I'm just not understanding what's going on. I'm wondering why I paid $130 for this ticket, so on and so forth. But I also do have some money riding on this, where I have the Commanders winning 8 games and USC winning the championship to win like $2,000. So I'm really invested in this, but I'm more so invested in the emotional aspect, which I want this team to do well. Now, yes, obviously, if we make the playoffs, probably not going to make it that far. I'm not really saying that. What I'm saying is that this team is talented enough to go farther than what they're doing right now and play better than what they're doing right now.
Definitely.
And I literally will, my last thought, and then I'll get to your last thoughts. Because, again, talking about it, I'm going to take a little sip of my adult beverage. So talking about this makes me, dude, I've been sitting in my car just wallowing in filth,
right?
Of thinking about the team, because I hear it on the radio. Oh man, what pissed you off the most about this? Oh man, what are we even doing here? And they're calling people names and they're doing this, doing that. The problem that I'm having is, why in the hell have we not fired anybody?
Yeah.
Why have we not fired a single person? I mean, you see Matt Eberflus, Nathaniel Hackett, he got fired after like 2 days of Denver. I mean, you're seeing Urban Meyer out here dancing with all the honeys in Jacksonville, and he sucked, and then all of a sudden he gets fired. But no, Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio go out there, and they are terrible. Jack Del Rio, I kind of favored him at first. I was like, okay, head coach in 2 different places. He's got a good defensive mind, stuff like that. But these two are literally dinosaurs. They should be in the movie Land Before Time, because they are so old. And Ron Rivera, this dude's getting $8 million. I'm slaving away trying to teach our youth how to throw a damn ball, and I'm getting paid pennies. And this guy's sitting there. And seriously, and I'm sitting there watching him on the TV look perplexed every single damn Sunday, Thursday, whatever damn day they play. And he's sitting there getting paid $8 million. Meanwhile, Josh Harris, he's out there gallivanting with a drink in his hand, not even knowing what the hell's going on. We have to get a guy that owns 4% of the damn team to tweet out something for someone to have some buzz.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. Magic Johnson is a godsend to this team, because if I were Magic Johnson, I would have gone to the owner's box and said, dude, this guy needs to be effing fired today.
Yeah.
This is pathetic. If you look at his record sucks. 7 losing seasons, and this dude is still around. I mean, you would think that he would have been fired last year, and Dan Snyder would have stuck the middle finger up one last time to us as he walked out the damn door. But yet, we're going to sit here and have 2 idiot dinosaur, fossils sitting there with their arms crossed. And don't get me wrong, they could be great guys. I don't really care if they're great guys or not. This is a business, and if I sucked at my job, I'd get fired or written up or whatever the hell they do to teachers. And then these 2 guys are over here sitting there with their arms crossed saying, oh no, we let them talk to each other at halftime. It's like, what the hell are you there for then? You're literally there with a headset, and I haven't seen him talking to the headset once.
Yeah,
honestly,
that's true.
He's got a headset on. He's just like listening. He's listening to
Rivera,
the Earth, Wind, and Fire or something like that. What the hell is this guy doing? This is pathetic.
It's crazy. I mean, we've said it all the time. Like, we're not Rivera guys. I mean, we really aren't, because not that the coach always has to be stamping and screaming on the sidelines, but at the same time, Rivera is never even close to that. He is. He always has a blank expression on his face. He always looks like he doesn't even want to be there. And you're right. Yep. I mean, when you look at his career, I mean, for most coaches, it's like, all right, like you said, in the NFL, there's some coaches you get a pretty quick trigger and they fire you pretty quick. In general, the theory is kind of, especially a guy that you give a lot of money in years to, you're kind of thinking, all right, by year 3, let's say, we have to have improvement. Otherwise, you need to be out the door. And you look at what he originally did in Carolina. By year 3, he took this from a 6-win team to a 12-win team, and there was improvement there. At year 3 here in DC, he went from 7-9 to 8-1. I mean, there's not some big giant leap of improvement there.
Statue.
And even in Carolina, besides that 12-4 year, he really only had 2 other good years. He obviously had the great 2015 year, the 15-1 year. I mean, obviously that's fantastic. And then the 2017 year, 11-5. Everything else was 6-10, 7-9.
Yeah, well, you have Cam Newton. It's different when you have Cam Newton over Sam Howell. I mean, that's exactly the problem, dude.
Exactly. So, you give him he's had 3 good coaching seasons in his entire 13 years of career. So, I mean, that's the crazy thing too. It's like, I just I don't get it. I don't get what we're doing with this guy, where we're going to, he's going to probably not, I don't think they're going to, well, they should, I agree with you. I think that they're not going to fire him this year. I mean, even if this team is bad, I think they're going to let him just ride out the rest of the year, and then, maybe figure it out after that. Because what is his contract situation? What is he?
I think he has. Honestly, I think he has 1 more year. I think they have a 5-year, maybe a 4-year and an option or something like that. But
okay.
It's definitely not. So here's my thing. Okay, you're looking at his winning percentages. Overall, he's a 51.8% winning percentage overall. The difference is that I'm seeing though
is
that
one season. That's
that one.
You
take out that one season. That one season, it makes him an under 500 year or under 500 total. Right. And the problem is, you're saying Washington, he has a 44.5 win percentage. So that means he's going under 500 every single year. But the problem is that when he came in, it was to change the culture. The culture's changed, okay? The culture's changed. The owner's out. You should be out too, okay? I just don't understand that we're sitting here, twiddling our effing thumbs while he sits there, crossing his arms and literally being like one of those statues that you see at a fancy, mansion somewhere that's out there and has their privates out and all that kind of stuff sitting there like Apollo or some crap. And the problem is, you're sitting there looking at him and saying, this guy is still employed? How is this an issue? I mean, I don't understand how this is still going on, because you have somebody, okay, and I'm not going to say this person deserves it 100%.
Right.
But you have someone that is actually given this team a little bit of life, which we've talked about now for multiple weeks. Eric Bieniemy has learned under Andy Reid for multiple years. He's transitioned over here for a chance. There is zero chance that he came over to Washington to, let me just have a change of scenery. Why would you leave a Super Bowl contender year in and year out because you have one of the top 5 players on the planet to ever live, probably, in Patrick Mahomes, and the best tight end in the league, and Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift in the box every damn day. Okay. I just don't understand how you have this guy, Eric Bieniemy, on the coaching staff. And if you're Josh Harris, you go out there and say, you know what? I'm kicking Jack and Ron off. Eric Bieniemy, you go up. We're going to promote somebody else to offensive coordinator, but there's going to be some statue as well because Eric Bieniemy is going to be calling the plays no matter what, and inject some life. Everyone keeps saying, well, who's going to call the plays on defense? I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Can
Ryan Kerrigan is on the damn coaching staff. Tell him to go call plays. I could care less. Yeah. You can get the defense. You can get the head coach from, I don't know, Chantilly High School or something to go over there. Whoever the hell that is, you can go get one of them to go do it. It doesn't matter. The biggest thing, you can get Chat GPT or ABT or whatever the hell it's called to call play. I mean, let's be honest here. The problem that I'm seeing is that you have an opportunity here to give a guy a 12-game audition. 12 games, okay? Because Ron and Jack aren't going to be here next year. That's an almost foregone conclusion. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing is you have to look at Eric Bieniemy and say, hey, man, you want to have a little audition. You want to show everybody that, hey, you passed up on the next big thing. You passed up on the next big head coach that has a great offensive mind, that's going to go out there and score 27 points per game, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. Here's your audition. Go show everyone that you can inject some fire into this team. You got 12 games to do it. That's over half a season. Go out there and do it. Here's the keys to the Porsche. Go and make this team a winner. And that's what I think they should do. But they're not going to do that. The problem is that I'm hearing everybody say, well, you don't want to have Josh Harris seem like he's too rash. I would say Josh Harris is my name. Here's my middle finger. I got $6 billion for this team. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. That's what Al Davis did when he was in Oakland. Okay, God rest his soul. But the biggest thing with him is that the guy had a pair of balls that he would throw on the table and say, screw you, NFL. I'm going to stand up to you, and all the things that he had to do. And all of a sudden, he's drafting Darius Hayward-Bay at like 9th overall, and that guy sucked out of Maryland. All he liked was his speed. It's like, overall, you got to have an owner that does that. And that's the kind of owner I want to see. I want to see a guy that goes out there. That's what Magic Johnson's trying to do, but he doesn't have enough stake in the team. If he had 30%, Ron Rivera would be, on a bus to, Timbuktu right now. But that's my biggest thing. You got Eric Bieniemy there. Give him a shot to give a little chance of a spark in this team, and also give him a chance to show everybody that if you go to him for next season, you have a reason to. Because you can't sit there and say, oh, well, the offense, no, go out there and make him go out and say, hey, we got 12 games left. Go 8-4. Go do something like that. If you can go do that, you got the head coaching job for the next 4 years. Here's a big-ass contract.
Yeah, I got you. And we'll see what happens. I mean, again, you got Atlanta coming up now. I think Atlanta, the current spread, I think, is Atlanta favored by 2.5 at home against the Commanders. So we'll see.
Oh, we'll get to that later. Trust me.
Yeah, okay, we'll take a look at that. But before we wrap up the show, we do have to, of course, touch on the greatest show on television, Survivor, of course.
Hey, cracking it open.
Crack it open. So, by the way, side note, I'm downloading NBA 2K24, and it says 11 hours left on the download here. But for some reason, these games, they take a million years to download. But anyways.
Wait, are you hardwired in?
No, it's just Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Oh, dude, you got to get a hardwire, man.
Yeah.
I would 100%. I would have put my Wi-Fi down there. I'm hardwired in, dude. And the one thing that ticks me off, we can restart the music here in a second.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just play.
Yeah. Oh, you got it on the loop, so I forgot about that. So the biggest thing about me with the video games downloading is that it'll be like 170 megs, and it'll be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be done in 13 minutes. And all of a sudden, I'll be like sitting there watching it, just like waiting on my phone, and all of a sudden I look up and it's like 5 megs. I'm like, how is that even possible? I'm not even doing anything. Like, it makes no sense.
This is 124 gigabytes. So far, it's downloaded about 40. So, anyways, on to Survivor. We're just going to touch briefly on, and again, if you aren't a Survivor fan, you can fast forward and skip through this. But this was episode 2 of season 45, which, in my opinion, was like 100 times better than episode 1. Like, I feel like it got way better. I feel like episode 1, we were kind of like, nothing really happened. We just had like people quit, and like Brandon was awful, and all that sort of stuff. But in episode 2 here, obviously we still continue with our boy Brandon, which luckily none of us picked him to stay in the game, because he obviously gets voted out for being some people are saying one of the worst Survivor players in history of the game, because we're talking about a guy who failed immediately in episode 1, like just trying to climb a ladder.
Yes.
He failed, like he was already like crying like 2 hours into camp, like he's crying and all the talks and stuff. He was ready to quit too, like just because the other girl quit, like he was ready to quit as well, and then he didn't. And then in this episode, Mike, we got to see him
and his element.
We completely botch a puzzle where only he was the one doing it. It was a matching game. It wasn't even a puzzle. It was literally like, this thing has 3 lines, this thing has 3 lines. You got to pick them and match them, and then match this one and match this one.
You know that the matching wasn't that hard because they only had 3 minutes to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So it was easy.
It's like, oh, here's a fish and here's a bear. Does that match? And he didn't do the right thing.
He couldn't get it. He literally, and he's been talking about how he's a puzzle guy, and he couldn't get not even a puzzle. This is something that, like, my daughter's 2.5. She could do the matching game at this point. If I hold 2 things about in front of her, like, she'd be able to figure it out. But
here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Put yourself in his shoes. If you failed that miserably at a puzzle, would you say, yeah, it was an endurance challenge, and I'm here to play Survivor.
You lie.
I would have gone out there and tried to make fire with 2 sticks in like 5 minutes or something like that. Don't sit there and say, "Yeah, I was in my element and doing a puzzle, and I messed it up." Like, dude, you make yourself look even worse.
Oh, it's the dumbest thing. No, to come back and like tell everybody like, yeah, man, I failed another puzzle. It's like, why? Okay, then why would we ever keep you on this drive? Like, you are the worst. We already think you're the worst player. You've just confirmed that as well. No, you got to lie in that situation for sure. And also, like, there's the element of like, do you risk your vote or do you participate in the game? I tend to be on. So a lot of the time in Survivor, especially early in the game, I am of the mindset that you want to stay a little bit under the radar early on.
True.
You don't want to do anything too crazy. You don't want to like get anybody to not like you too early. You want to cruise a little bit. And then if you got to pick your spots. And then once you get to like the merge, then it's like
get people to like you, you're saying. Get people to like you.
Exactly.
Say, "Oh yeah, that Ben guy, he's pretty cool,
he seems fine.
I can see myself working with him."
Exactly. Like you just got to like do well in challenges, not too well, but just like do well in challenges.
Do your part.
Do your thing. Exactly. Just like be a team, a role player basically. And then you pick your moments, but like this, you had Brandon obviously stink. You've had Emily be a weirdo too, where she's like, like calling out all these strategies. And then in this episode, she was like being nice to everybody, and now everyone
I want nothing
likes
more
her
in the
now.
world. I hate when people say that. I want nothing more in the world. I'm sure you would like a lot more in the world than to work with 3 people that already hate you.
Yeah, right, exactly. It was they kept her, but you got to think like if that tribe loses again, like she's gone. Like they already know she's out the door next.
100%.
You had the weird like toe bit where we got to see this one girl have like the largest toe in the world, basically.
That thing was huge.
And then she was like picking stuff up with it, and like
but she said, "Hey Sifu, you want me to pinch you with it?" He was like, yeah. Like,
yeah, right.
What?
Get that thing away from me.
Yeah.
No,
hey,
it was
alien.
It was like a cartoon character toe or something. It was very weird. If you watch the episode, you know what we're talking about. If you didn't watch the episode and you're still listening to this part, I don't know what you're doing. You had your boy Brando pull up his little buff to make a little tank top, and he was kind of hanging with the girls.
He's doing what you're doing, man. He's making himself likable. Now
he
he's
is.
not the most athletic. He's a little bit nerdy, but he's making himself likable. So I like that.
Exactly. And so if we look at our draftees here and talk about them specifically with this,
We should grade them. We should grade them. That would be nice.
Okay, yeah, okay, we'll grade them. So, so Caleb for me, I think really solid, like B plus, maybe low A, because what Caleb has done now at this point is he's obviously made friends with Sabaya and the other guy on their tribe, the principal guy. But then he's also
I hate that principal guy.
Yeah, no, that guy stinks. But he's also made friends with Emily, who was like he's turned to like a girl who's like
undercover agent,
kind of hated, and then he's kind of been the one person to be like, hey, because if that tribe does win a few challenges, and next thing you know, we get to the merge and stuff like that, he has her on his side at that point, where maybe the other two don't. So Caleb, I think, has really solid showing there.
He gave her a lifeline. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. Kendra was really, I don't even think was really a factor.
I don't even know she was on the show.
The only thing with Kendra was she was the one that took the giant fall on the balance beam and just slammed her body down.
If she was a dude, she'd be dead.
If she was a dude, she would be dead. You're right. That was a rough one from Kendra. So I got to throw like a C at her. I mean, that was a rough one for her. I mean, she didn't do anything to like lose, but she also took a heavy hit. And then Sifu. Look, I did not pick Sifu because I particularly liked the guy. I just figured like, hey, maybe this guy can make it a while. This guy on this episode is talking about how he likes punching trees and like
that was weird.
That was weird. No, the guy's an absolute psychopath, and I think he's gonna piss everybody off. So that's why I have to probably give him like another like C on this episode too, because I don't think he even participated in the challenge. I think he sat out because you get a chance to sit out, and so he wasn't even part of that. So maybe he's like a C minus, honestly, because like he really was a non-factor at all. He did his little Tai Chi on the beach. That was kind of cool. But besides that, not really Kendra and Sifu, non-factors in this episode. But Caleb, solid showing.
So Sifu, first off, before I get to him, let me ask you. So they did something with the challenges where you can't sit out back-to-back challenges.
Right.
That was the original thing. And but like, what? So, is that because of the main reason why now they don't have two challenges? Like,
so now they tend to combine.
Like the exact same thing.
No, you're exactly right. No, you're exactly right. So in the early days of the game, it was that exact rule. It was like you can't sit out back to back or whatever. And then like in the mid years or whatever, they started having like the reward challenge and then the immunity challenge be very separated.
Right.
And now they've combined them back in together. So Jeff's point now is like, you can't keep sitting out like your weakest person every single time.
Which I hate that because it's the same thing with like for Big Brother, for instance. You know, they do the same thing where it's like, they have a fight or something like that, and then it eliminates one of the challenges. It's like, I want more challenges. I want to see people perform because that gives you more time to judge people. But I think
definitely.
But I think because of the sole fact that they took away, I mean, even though they are basically giving them and gifting them like fishing gear and all this kind of stuff,
right.
I think back in the olden days when they gave them a 2-pound bag of rice and all that kind of stuff, and people are rationing the rice, I think now they're saying that because we're not giving them that rice, they basically have to fend for themselves, so we have to do less challenges to have less safety or more safety, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal
is.
It is weird. That was one definitely something we noticed too in our viewing, and then but besides that, honestly, like the 90 minutes worked pretty well for me on this episode. We didn't even get to the challenge till you were an hour into the episode, basically. But I didn't feel super bored at least through that hour because we had a lot of different things going on. But I don't know. I could see it not working. Like in episode 1, it didn't really work that well. But
once you get rid of some of these losers, then it's gonna be a lot more interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, there's let's be honest here. We know the losers. So
let's check your boys out here. Your crew.
But with Sifu though, I think that what you said obviously was big last time, where you basically said he's on a winning tribe, so he's going to be around a lot.
Yeah, I think so.
That's not.
And then if he's a strong guy, so I do think like when it comes to the single immunity challenges, like when everybody fends for themselves after the merge,
right?
He could be a type of guy that could last for a while, especially if he's doing like Tai Chi and stuff too. He's got like weird abilities, like probably he's good at balancing, I bet,
he's like
and stuff like
Spider-Man.
that. So I'm just saying, and then Weird Toe Girl, she's going to be great at everything balancing.
Weird Toe
She'll like
Girl.
hook her toe over stuff to like, and she might be good.
There's endurance ones where they have to hold onto a bucket or something.
Yeah, for sure. yeah.
So, but also, it's okay. Whatever. We could go on about Weird Toe and Sifu for a while.
Right.
So my grades, I'm gonna go Brando. I'm gonna go with a nice B plus.
Yeah.
I think his communication skills are great. Now, I think he did lose. Is he on the red or the blue?
He's on the blue.
So he did lose the challenge, I believe.
Yeah, they finished in second, but they didn't lose, but they didn't win either.
They didn't lose, but they had a lead, and
Right.
they had. And Jeff's like, they have 2 pieces left, and then all of a
Jeff
sudden
gets
they
all
lost.
excited.
Yeah, he gets pretty.
Oh,
pumped up
I have
that.
a Survivor hat. It's upstairs though. I do have. I got it for my birthday. I got a Survivor hat. I wear it.
Dude,
next episode.
Dude, you got. Oh man, you gotta wear that next time.
Yeah.
So I'll give him a B plus. Is it
Sabaya.
Sabaya. We called her
Yeah.
Sabia.
Yeah.
I thought it was Sabia. Anyways, I could have sworn they said Sabia the first episode. So Sabaya, I would give her a solid B. I wouldn't give her that much because I do like how she's like, that Emily girl's a snake in the grass, because she is. Let's
Yeah.
be honest here. Just look at her.
She is.
So I like that aspect, that she's kind of aware of what's going on, and she also
got
has
the
that.
immunity idol now.
Yeah.
She has to melt this candle first, but she's got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I love how she opened up. She was like, "Are you effing serious?"
Yeah.
Like, of course, this tribe sucks. I'm not gonna have Flint for 3 days.
I know.
But I do like how she has Seth, or whatever the guy's name is, the principal.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is, Sean or something. Like basically wrapped around her finger.
I think it is Sean. I think you might be right, but I could be
Okay,
wrong. Actually,
I think it's an S something. But I think it's hilarious though, because I can't stand that guy. As a side note, like I said before, because I hate this. We love you too. Like I would not say I love this person when I've known them for 4 days. Like,
he's too emotional. He's too emotional for sure.
I've seen people at summer camp longer than these people have been on the
Yeah.
island so far, and I never said I love you to some random Joe Jabroni. So Austin, I'm gonna give Austin an A, because the dude figured out what to do for the flag or whatever it was when he got the beware advantage.
Yep.
Plus the sole fact that he's great at the challenges. The
Yeah,
guy's an athletic
he's a
freak.
challenge beast for sure.
Plus the sole fact that people still like him, and he's also being nonchalant about finding the advantage thing, because again, I would try to keep it as close to the vest.
You don't
as possible.
tell anybody. That's the whole thing. I hate when these people tell people.
Yeah,
Dude.
yeah. Look,
I'm gonna be truthful and tell everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you now? You got to be truthful if you're that Emily girl, because she's a
Right,
weirdo
right.
and stuff like that. But it's like, if you're Austin and you're living on cloud 9 right now, they're not going to vote you out because you're winning a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Not to mention the sole fact that you're sitting there and you have an idol, or excuse me, an advantage, and you're saying like, all right, I got to figure this out on my own. All of them left him alone because they trust him, by the way.
right.
And they said, "Oh yeah, it's Austin. He's just gonna lay down the bamboo for a little bit, Maybe he'll look at the fish or something like that. And we're gonna go out for a nice little jog on the beach or something." And he's like, "Well, I got 20 minutes. I'm gonna go over here and look at this damn flag for a second." Figured it out, and then all of a sudden he's like, "All right, I know what to do now." So Austin, easily an A.
Austin is a strong player. I really think and the thing with Brando also is, at least what they showed us in that episode, is he's kind of riding the middle between two kind of groups, which is a great place to be, because then you can kind of go with wherever you feel the vote is going to be happening with. It's like, all right, I'm going to stick with this team, or I'm going to stick with that team. So I think Brando's in a great spot. I think out of our group of 6, Austin, Brando, and Caleb are 3 in the best spots right now. And then I think Sabaya would be like right underneath there, and then like Kendra Sifu, kind of non-factor. So
Well, your Caleb is, I would say, in second place right now because he's athletic, but also you saw it last time. He's playing the social game now.
Super charismatic,
which is a huge
guy.
deal.
No, he
So
seems
he's
he
doing
seems
that.
super likable. People seem to like him a lot. So yeah, no, I think he's looking good. So right now, I will say, like, our picks right now have looked pretty solid. So we'll see how that plays out. Before we wrap up the show, we will step back into the Daily Dozen trivia portal here.
Let's do it.
And let's see. So last time we did get 2 wrong. We went 7 of 9 after going 9 of 9 the previous 2. Let's see if we can get back to our winning ways. We will start. We're just going to go from the top left, and we're going to start with sports here. NFL. After an All-American career at Kansas State, this wide receiver caught 69 touchdowns with the Packers from 2008 through 2017 before ending his career in 2018 with the Raiders. So Packers for a long time, and then
with Aaron Rodgers. So that's Jordy Nelson? It has to be, right?
It has to be, because we're talking about 2018 going to the Raiders.
I believe he was with the Raiders in 2018. And if you look at it, the only other people were Randall Cobb and what's his face?
It's not Cobb, and it's not.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be 2018.
Donald Driver is the other one I can think, but he wasn't 2017. John Driver was like 2014.
Yeah, and he didn't end up with the Raiders. So yeah, no, I agree. I'm fine with Jordy Nelson. Okay, 1 for 1. All right, NBA.
Let's go. I'm pumped.
I love when they throw these questions in just for us. Nicknamed Tough Juice, Caron Butler played for 9 different NBA franchises, but he was a 2-time All-Star while playing for what Eastern Conference team from 2005 to 2010? That is your Washington Wizards.
Tough Juice?
Tough Juice. That was his nickname back in the day. TUFF, Tough Juice. You don't remember that?
You knew that?
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
What the hell is Tough Juice?
Yeah, that's our boy, Caron Butler. All right. I'm going to have to lean on you for this. Hockey. Taylor Hall and Niall Yakupov were each drafted number 1 overall by what Western Conference team that had the number 1 pick 3 straight seasons from 2010 through 2012?
Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
My first thought was the Devils, but they're not. They're in the East.
Yeah, it's
right?
Western Conference. Yeah, they're in the East. So it's Western Conference, had the number 1 pick 3 straight seasons, 2010 through 2012, and they got Taylor Hall and this Nail, Nail, Yakupov.
I think it's the Oilers. Because that was. This is a decade ago though.
Yeah.
So it's the Oilers.
I'll go with you. Whatever you think.
I think it's the Oilers, because this is before they got McDavid and all that jazz. So I think it's the Oilers, and I'm going to go with that.
Here we go. Edmonton Oilers. 3 for 3.
Hit it.
All right. Non-sports now. Here we go. What is the capital of Portugal? I actually know this.
You do?
It's Lisbon. Lisbon. Correct. I did. So during the pandemic.
It's not Edmonton?
Yeah. During the pandemic, when you had like nothing to do, I spent like 2 months memorizing all of the countries on the map for Europe and for Asia. And then I also memorized the capitals. Now, to this day, there's like some I probably would miss for sure if I tried again, but I definitely remember Portugal, Lisbon. All right, 4 for 4. All right, the other one's a celebrity mashup. I can do this one. This one's easy.
Trust me, I'm following along on my phone.
It's Conan O'Brien and Sandra Bullock. Because I remember that dress from the picture. Okay, cool. 5
Oh, wow.
All right, grocery
Nice.
products. I'm good at the celebrity mashups. All right. Originating as a
I remember that dress.
Originating as a low-fat, low-calorie version of Stouffer's products, Nestle now produces this brand of frozen dinners and entrees that has its name in orange print on each box. So it's a low-fat, low-calorie version. The thing that I was about to say that came to mind immediately. It's something that Mike and I stay away from. Lean.
Oh, I eat them. I just never get lean.
I eat 2 of them. Yeah, lean. All right, 6 for 6.
You sit there like, oh, it's only 400 calories. I'll eat 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Hey, have you ever done the bit where you sit there and you get 2 lean cuisines and you dump one in the other?
No, but I have bought a family size mac and cheese before from Stouffer's. The one that's like a gigantic tub, and you're like, I mean, Stouffer's mac is for your frozen mac side of things, it's the number 1 seed in frozen mac. Right. TV. I have to be clear. TV. Will Forte earned multiple Best Emmy nominations for leading role. Okay, I know this one. This is The Last Man on Earth. It was a weird show. Yeah.
I watched the first. I think I watched the first maybe season or two.
Okay.
I didn't like it when he got the long hair and they went by Tandy. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
That was like weird. Like I liked it when like all of a sudden he was like, "Yo, what was the blonde girl's name? She was Diamond in X-Men or something like that."
Yeah, I forget. It's been a while.
But, like,
I just know definitely Will Forte with Last Man on Earth for
I
sure.
mean, she went for the fat guy, and that's not right.
All right, movies.
That's not how culture is.
Oh, we can get this too. Adam Sandler, Jack Nicholson, 2003 comedy. It's Anger Management, I think, right?
Yep.
That was the one. Okay, yeah, I was about to say.
Indeed.
That's a good movie. You know what we watched last night for fun?
I haven't seen it in forever.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But like for fun, we watched Happy Gilmore last night because we were like,
Nice.
It was like 8 o'clock. I was like, I don't really want to watch TV. I was following some of the games on my phone. I mean, and so when you have, I will say, like when you're like, I just want to watch a 90-minute comedy that I know I'm going to laugh at. I mean, that's why Sandler movies are the best, because you're like, I know if I throw on Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore or whatever, like you're going to have a good time. You're going to have 90 minutes. It's going to be done. And you're going to have some laughs along the way, and it's going to be a solid time for sure.
Yeah, and he's like, Billy,
Sorry, Daddy.
eat your soup, Billy.
Last one here. We're about to go 9 for 9 again. So
Have you ever seen Hoobie Halloween, by the way?
Yeah,
Hoobie?
actually, I have. Hubie
It's
Halloween.
the dumbest movie on the earth, but then
Yeah.
like Steve Buscemi's like, if you hear some noise, don't be worried, Hubie. He's like, okay, Mr. Clarkson, or
That was
whatever
like-
the hell his name is.
That was like 2021 or whatever. That
yeah,
came
it
out.
was during COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely remember that one. All right, music. Iggy Azalea had 2 top 5 Billboard Hot 100 hits as lead artist, Black Widow and What Song featuring Charlie XCX. I believe, I think this song is called like Fancy.
It's
Do you
called
remember?
Fancy.
Okay.
Yep. I'm so fancy.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
You already know.
All right,
And
boom.
then Charlie XCX or whatever was like, people liked her. And I'm like, this girl doesn't know anything.
Yeah, she's kind of
Like she had that one hit with Iggy, which by the way, Iggy,
You like her over Taylor Swift for sure.
you kidding me? It's not even a contest.
Let's look at the stats. So it looks like so the lowest percentage people got was Celebrity Mashup. So I guess people probably could tell one was Conan, but I don't. Maybe the Sandra Bullock one was tough.
think
NHL. So good poll by you. Only 34% got that. NBA was. It's funny because like we know Caron Butler and the Wizards very well, but like maybe regular people don't. And then TV. I mean, The Last Man on Earth. Like the only way you wouldn't know that, I guess, is if you're younger than us, maybe, and like you just weren't paying attention. Because I feel like it was always
for a long
on
time.
Yeah, it was, and you'd see commercials for it like on during the World Series or like stuff like that. Like I feel like it was pretty there all the time. Yeah. And the rest, I mean, 70% got Jordy Nelson, 70% got Lisbon. So I'm not some genius, I guess.
A lot better than me.
So we were perfect. So only 1,079 got perfect, and we are in that.
We both bring our heavy strengths. Emphasis on the heavy.
Yeah. See, that's why, like, if you, yeah, really. So that's why if you and I went to like some sort of like trivia night, I feel like we would clean up because like we all, like you said, we have our different strengths. Like you have some pop culture knowledge that I don't have, and then I've got like some like music or like some like weird movie stuff. Like I feel like you're the everyman. So you have like your, I mean, if anybody throws any sort of like dude, if somebody did like a quiz on like 2000s comedy movies, I feel like you would ace that quiz because I feel like you know every single one. And then like I feel like you got plenty of music knowledge. I'm not trying to like blow smoke up your ass here. I'm just saying like
Thank you.
I think we would be a good team with this. So that's why I feel like we got to take the show on the road. We got to do some trivia.
if you're down, what we should do is do trivia. I've been trying to find people to do trivia at least once a month.
Right.
And go out to a like if we go to Mustang Sally's.
The brewery trivia stuff. There's always some good time with that. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, I've been to like Mustang Sally's or a couple of different places.
I feel like they do it at Mellow Mushroom sometimes too, but I don't know.
Which one?
Then again, the Herndon one's out of business now, so I don't know.
Boom, done. Yeah, well, I've been to Mustang Sally's when they've done it a couple times. I've been to Crooked Run. I've been to there. The problem is the guys that I usually meet there, like one of them was really weird because he was like it was like halftime, and like the guy was like, "All right, come pick up your sheets. You have to name all these Black History Month people because it's Black History Month." And my buddy got 9 out of 8 of them, or excuse me, 8 out of 9 of them. And I'm like, when the hell did you know this? Because you're dumb as a box of rocks. Like, and he just knew it. But it's like, I'm trying to find, someone to. So
you got to build a team of Avengers that where we all bring in our strength.
If we went, we should go once a month, make it a scene, and then we go there and
you find the game. You find the game. And then,
dude, man, it's too. I just need people to do it with. That's the
your
problem.
People call my people.
Yeah, Edmonton Oilers.
Edmonton Oilers. You can find the show on Twitter at the DC Crossover, and at Cerrone16 on TikTok, DC Crossover Podcast, and we will hopefully be talking to you guys after. Wait, we haven't done our picks. Excuse me, John Z. Hold up.
Wait, I didn't even think about that.
I skipped ahead by accident. We'll knock out our picks of the week. The money line.
Let's motor through this.
Sponsored by DraftKings. Here's my picks. Here are my lock. Chiefs -10.5 versus Denver. Denver sucks. Chiefs are pretty good. I like them winning by at least 2 touchdowns.
I was looking at that one too. Yeah.
My dog. I love me a big spread. Indiana +34 against Michigan. I like the idea of Michigan getting up 3 touchdowns and then running the football and cruising. Who are your picks of the week?
Did you find the video of them snapping and stuff?
What video?
I was doing like the Benny and the Jets, like the
Sharks,
the Jets
thing. Yeah, okay. When
you watched
that night,
it?
I watched it. When you had mentioned it, yeah.
Okay, so that's weird, man. Apparently, Shane McMahon's son is like one of their running backs. Apparently,
weird.
I don't know. I saw it on again the things you see on social media.
Yeah.
My lock: San Fran -4.5 at Cleveland. Cleveland. I mean, they're getting way too much. They're getting way too much credit here. Let's put it that way. Okay. San Fran's 4-1 against the spread so far this season. The only loss they have against the spread is where they lost 0.5 point to the Rams. They were 7.5 point favorites. They won by 7. And the biggest thing about it is you see Cleveland. Sure, they're one of the best defenses in the league. But overall, I mean, they let 28 points to the Ravens, who couldn't even score against the Steelers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So you're thinking about it. And I'm not saying the Steelers' defense is bad, but I mean, let's be honest here. It's the -4.5 for a team that's scoring over 30 the last 4 games. Screw that. It's Cleveland can't even score to save their life. My dog. I said we're gonna get to it later. Commanders +2.5 at Atlanta. Because you know what? If they don't win this ball game, the coaching staff, meaning the 2 guys we mentioned prior, should be gone. Because that means the season is done. I'm telling you. It's
Fighting
over.
words. You know what I want to see? Heineke. Throw Ritter to the side. Give me Heineke on Sunday.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I want to see. I want to see Heineke and Howell.
Well, hey, if Heineke doesn't start, I win a $10 side bet. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then, for your sake, I hope he doesn't.
Thanks.
We'll see you guys next time. This has been another episode of the DC Crossover. John Z, you beat us. You get to sing it loud and proud, buddy.